When I was a kid, my granddad made a load of furniture for pretty much everyone in the family. He made so many of these bedside tables. He made a lot of these stools as well. I didn't paint it though. I wouldn't have painted it. Don't come for me. These 4 bags are full of parts for stools that he never got to finish. Once he retired, he didn't have access to the workshop anymore. And so I'm guessing he must have cut these down between 25 and 30 years ago and then took them home, presumably with the intention of finishing them, but he never got around to it, so I'm going to do it. While I figure out exactly what I have here, because I really have no idea, let me tell you a little bit about him and where this wood came from. He worked as a coach builder in Clancy Barracks in Dublin for close to 40 years. I can't even explain to you how much he loved it. Every time I saw him, he would tell me stories about that time and about the people that he worked with. It was so clear from talking to him how much that place meant to him. Clancy had a load of these decommissioned rifles in storage, I think, and so the wood that he used to make all this furniture came from these solid racks that they were kept in. He said he was headed back from lunch one day with his friends and he came across these soldiers chucking these racks out into the street. I think the rifles were being destroyed or moved somewhere else, and my granddad would always say that him and the lads just looked at each other in disbelief, like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. He would say to me, "This was a 140-year-old Oregon pine." Anyway, they one by one gathered up these incredibly heavy gun racks and they carried them back to their workshop. And they must have just piled them up in a corner somewhere because that became their steady little supply to make things from. So he would make that wide stool that was kind of low down, but he would also make like a taller, narrower one, and secretly I hoped that there was enough in here to make 2 of those, and it seems like there might be. Some of these are really in bits. These ones are kind of paint speckled. There's some dirt on some of them, a healthy amount of cobwebs. Those are 2 legs for one of the taller stools, and there's another 2, so there's 4 legs for that. I have 2 more and then 2 more here. 2 sets of legs, that's great. There's 2 legs and 4, and it looks like there's a complete set for another one as well. I don't think I'm going to build 4 stools out of these though, because I don't really have the space. So I think I'll just do the 2 that I want. One's going to live in my house, the other's going to live in my new workshop. And then if anyone else in my family wants any of the other 2 made up for them, I'll do that at another time. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4. Damn. This one is missing 1 part and the smaller stool is missing 1 part. So the first obstacle that I was expecting to hit is kind of not knowing what to do in terms of sanding. If I was making something from scratch myself, before I glued them together, I would sand everything nice and smooth. But this wood has a patina that is like hard earned, you know, you can't fake this. But also it's been bound by masking tape, and so it has left adhesive, and I don't know how to get that off without sanding. I'm leaning towards sanding these and trying to make something that looks like what my granddad would have made 30 years ago. He wouldn't have used a part like that. I think he would have cleaned it up, right? Labeling these is going to be really important because if there's any inconsistencies and I'm swapping pieces around, I might end up with a loose fit if I'm not careful. And so the top set of mortises are labeled 1 to 8 and the bottom set are A to H. And then I'll make sure to label the tenons to match so I can keep track of where everything is meant to go. Paring these down was actually pretty handy. There was a pattern on the tenons that I'm guessing was left by machine. So mostly I just pared that down and that was enough. And then I worked my way through them one by one, testing the fit of everything as I went along, and pretty soon I had it all together. I have to say, having somebody else make the parts for you is an incredible time saver. I really recommend it. Now I can measure for the ply seat. We'll call it 28.5 centimeters squared. And then when I go home later this evening, I will order the wadding and the foam. my foam arrived. And so it is time to upholster, which I've never done before in my life. I ordered the foam to be cut to size, so it's 28.5 by 28.5 centimeters. Grandad still had about a third of the foam and it wasn't that comfortable. So that's great, it's gonna be really comfy. And also the stools are a little lower than I remembered, so that will add a bit of height as well. I also got 1/2-inch wadding. Also, my fabric, Grandad's stools were like a bottle green and a rusty kind of velvet, I think it was. And I spent ages looking for that exact material because in my mind, like, that is what Grandad's stools look like. And I couldn't really find it. And in the end, I settled on something that I really like. But it took me a while to realize, like, these can look a little bit different. Things don't have to be quite so fixed forever in the same place. Anyway, I don't know. That is 2.5 inches, which means I want 2.5 inches of wadding around the whole thing. I suppose we just go for it. I have a tendency to stall when it's something new and I'm a bit afraid of it. Cool, there we go, done. I don't know how to tackle the corners, to be fully honest. I guess there has to be a fold, right? That's just unavoidable. I'm realizing I probably should have cut the corners out of the wadding to kind of cut down on the bulk, you know? I think I can, yeah, I can still gain access to it right now. Yeah, so that cut down a lot of the bulk on that corner, and then I can just kind of, I don't know, fold over the fabric or something. I'll figure something out. I'm not too fussy about this part, honestly. I think that basically looks fine, right? It's not the cleanest, but something like that will work. When we go for it. That's looking pretty good. Like, it's fine. Do you know? That is not bad at all. All things considered, having never done this before, that's perfectly serviceable. And do you know what? I'm gonna do the next one even better, because truly you go to school on the first one. That's right, I've been making 2 stools this whole time. While I made this stool on camera, I was also making this stool off camera. It was the very same process, except if you'll remember, this one only had 7 stretchers, but there were a bunch of these little strips that are just spare. And so luckily, 2 of them is the exact width of a stretcher. And so I was able to laminate some of these together and make a new part from scratch with the same material. I was really happy about that. I was kind of thinking, oh, I'll just have to find a wood that's close or go with something that's purposely contrasted. But in the end, I didn't have to do that. Oh, that looks cool. Oh, that looks so good. I'd always planned on starting this by telling you a little bit about my granddad and where the wood came from. And I thought, like, maybe that would be a little kind of difficult. I don't even know if I've said it yet, but my granddad died a couple of years ago. What I wasn't prepared for is how it would feel to see a new one of these in the world, because it's been a while since there wasn't. And it's cool. Obviously it's not finished yet, but we can test it out. Oh, that's comfy. That's nice. That's cool, man. I still have to figure out how exactly I'm going to attach the top to the legs. I think I'll just make little blocks that fix to the stretchers, and then I can screw up through them and into the plywood. And of course, everything I do to one, I'll do to the other as well. So through the power of movie magic, we have 2 completed stools. Oh, it's warm in there, lads. I'm really happy with them. I think they look great. I really like this fabric too. It's so easy to do. I could easily, you know, do them again if I decide in 6 months. Actually, I could do a better job. Felt really special to be able to do this, and the fact that there was a little more involved than just gluing parts together made it feel in some way like an actual collaboration. My wedding ring, the gold that was used to make it, came from a ring that my granddad gave me and a pair of mismatched earrings that belonged to my nana. We had them melted down. My wife's is made from the same gold. Yeah, it meant a lot to me, you know. The first one will just tuck into the corner here and I can pull it out when I want to play guitar. I like playing on a stool because you can't really sit properly on a chair that has arms. They kind of smack into the back of the guitar. It's really annoying. The second one will live out here in my new workshop. Obviously it's not finished. There's a little bit of work to do, but in a few weeks this will make a lot more sense. I talk about my granddad all the time. It was nice to get to share a bit about him with some new people. Thanks for that. Really miss him. He was really kind and gentle and funny. Here's another quick story before I go, completely unrelated to furniture. I just think it's really funny. One time he told me that him and his friends would go and play snooker at about midnight, and then they'd stop into a cafe about 2 a.m. on the way home and get a bowl of soup and a glass of milk. Sorry, what? He would just casually say the funniest thing you'd ever heard all the time. All right, I'll see you in the next one. I probably won't cry in that one. Bye-bye.